Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for September 9th through 16th, 2025. Well, here we sit in the strange time in between eclipses. This weekend, we were rocked with the energy of the total lunar eclipse that happened at 15 degrees of Pisces, 23 minutes. Now, 15 degrees of Pisces is right in the middle of the sign. And so we're kind of getting to the crux of the matter. And with Saturn having moved back into Pisces just this last week, now we are feeling and facing the energies, issues of the Piscean age that need to get cleared up and cleaned up. This seems to be represented by Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio. Black Moon Lilith is our deepest, darkest secrets, often connected to the feminine. And so in Scorpio, it's a deep, deep secrets, deep, deep dive and deep journey that's required. But the gift of Scorpio is more meaning, more purpose, finding something that matters, searching into the depths of the darkness to find the light. And this is what we've been doing. You could put that, use that as a description in a nutshell of the work we've been doing, supernova souls, over this whole evolution. And now the story is playing out. We've been talking about how we just kind of take a bigger look at these planetary energies that what's come through the Edgar Cayce readings is that the planetary energies, each of the planets and the zodiac representations, are also within us, energies within us. And yet we've been victimized and battling these energies of astrology, but has it really been that the astrological forces and energies have been hijacked and used against us? And now we're taking them back. Because the lineup of astrology right now is so incredibly beautiful and it's unmistakable what the message is. It's time for us to come into alignment. So let's talk it through. Because this last eclipse, a total lunar eclipse, and what the total means is how close the sun and the moon come together, or opposition for a full moon. In this case, it was a full moon. So how close they came into opposition how close when they were in opposition they were to the nodes of the moon. So in this case, this lunar eclipse happened at 15 degrees of Pisces, and the nodes of the moon are sitting at 18 degrees of Pisces and Virgo, south node in Virgo. So just 3 degrees away, and 3 is a number of creativity or creative power, and everything seems to be speaking of this, that now it's time for the rightful rulers to take back what's theirs, for the rightful inheritors of the energies and the technologies of Earth, those who love the Earth, take back the resources of Earth, and that we will no longer host the destructive forces. The problem has been that supernova souls, we have taken the blame, just like Mother Earth, because we're her body and she's our body. We all are, but we know we are. And that makes us extra special and extra close to her in an intimacy that we've developed over many lifetimes. This is the Great Mother. We're talking about the divine principle, the feminine principle of the divine. She's embodied as a sentient being, right? Like he sent his one and only son, and she sent her one and only daughter. Maybe that's what this is really about. So we love her and we're committed to her because we were there from the beginning, supernova souls, at the inception, conception of Earth, witnessing the dream and the vision. What's being released into our world right now is an opportunity to align with Mother. But what does that really mean? Because we don't want to get trapped in worshiping something outside of ourselves. And yet we are her body. So we are recognizing that the alignment with Mother Earth, because she has the original dream, and in our DNA is the original dream, and we were there at the beginning. So she knows our role in the original dream and what it wants to become more than we know. And we're pretty clueless right now. We don't even know who we are, except we're getting a massive flash of lightning on that with the Sun Mercury conjunction coming up this week. So, if we are hers and she's ours, and she has the whole beautiful plan of what the potential is, she also has the plan of what we want to be in our individual expression, in our greatest, most truest expression. See, supernova souls, we've gotten pretty caught up in the ego games of trying to survive in this world as who we are, trying to find a label and a purpose in this world to fit in with some cookie cutter lifestyle, and it's like, you're not that. You are a shining star that's like on the verge of explosion. You will not be contained. And so, this is the energy that we're working with here and trying to manage in this time of awakening and ascension. But it's important to remember that what is being unleashed when we're talking about Mother waking up, the creative forces of the earth coming back into our possession, into our rightful, we feel worthy and able to work with these co-creation energies. The mandate of the creation energies of the life force is that it wants to support, wants to remove the wastes. We got some cleanup on earth to do. It's happening. And invite the cells, invite the organism, invite the energy to be what it wants to be. And here we are, supernova souls, our Akashic records, our memories, our technologies, everything has been stolen from us. And so how can we come into alignment with who we're meant to be and who we want to be in our soul, true soul essence, our I am, our most true, best expression of who we are, of what we want to be. So that's why we have to realign back with her, because she's got the codes. Ours have been attempted to be corrupted. We don't know who we are. And so this is what this eclipse season is really about. And with Saturn going back into Pisces, we've got to figure out who we were in order to be something different in the Aquarian age. We were actually completely controlled and traumatized slaves, spiritual slaves, basically, for the Piscean age. And it's not going to work moving forward. And it's a major turnaround. We keep talking about this too. It seems like we're coming to a flip, a point of no return, where it's like the fulcrum, we're dancing on the fulcrum now, but at one point, the critical mass, the 100th monkey, the level of consciousness is like, reaches the point where we can't go back the other way anymore. But so this Saturn going back into Pisces is such a crucial journey for us, because it's about going back into the dark age to find the empowerment of the spiritual as the spiritual beings that we are, to uncover the mysteries and the miracles of Christ consciousness that we're destined to arrive on earth at the last shift of ages in a more accessible way. That's what Rudolf Steiner says about the Christ event, the mystery of Golgotha, at the time of the crucifixion of Christ. It was an offering of energetic frequency for the whole earth aura, right? So he was offering his life force for our aura and on the earth, that we have more direct access to Christ consciousness. But we have not gotten the spoils and the benefit and the inheritance of this, because anyone got anywhere near this light, we were persecuted. And we haven't, since then, come back into being able to express who we are as spiritual teachers and leaders and healers. We haven't been able to come back together. We haven't been able to move forward in our tasks. We haven't been able to even be seen, even by ourselves. We've been on the DL, right? We're a witness protection program from ourselves. And that's about to end. And I'm sure you're feeling it, the landing home. I got this message real strong. It's like, what does it even mean? But the mother, this message, the voice that comes through, she says, hold space for me while I land. And it's interesting, because that's what we're doing for each other, supernova souls, is holding space so that we can land home as who we really are. And no wonder we're isolated from each other. But please know the work you're doing is helping other supernova souls. Like, there are some supernova souls that have no idea they're supernova souls. They're hanging on by a thread. Nothing makes sense to them. Everything in their worlds is about to break down into little pieces. And you had years to go through the process. But it appears maybe there's a group of supernova souls that it's like, come on, it's her last chance to awaken. Like, break down the barriers, break down the walls, surrender, let the ego death happen, because you are so much bigger than the confines of this reality. And so, but the breaking down of the ego constructs of all we've known so fast is quite traumatic. And so it may be that supernova soul, you are called to reach out in your consciousness or physically to supernova souls, particularly the masculine in us is really, really struggling to feel worthy of the blessings that are trying to come. So we are helping each other right now, and just know that your work you're doing is so important for all of us in the world. And it's like someday you'll be vindicated and you'll be so appreciated and you'll be lifted up, but we know we're not doing it for that. I mean, if we were doing it for accolades, we would have given up on this mission long ago. So don't try to flatter us. Just show us actual true respect. Basic human respect. That's what supernova souls are requiring as we move forward, as we break these old contracts with the planetary controllers who were gatekeepers on the technology, right? And we could understand that concept, like from Atlantean time, right? It makes sense, kind of. It's like, okay, they stole our technology. They blamed us for the destruction. They don't want us to have access to it. But now we're in a different phase. And so if you can kind of understand that concept of gatekeeping the technologies, right? Like not allowing the patents to get out, not allowing us to have free energy, that we've had for 100 years. And so, but we have to understand that we've come to the understanding in these last years, supernova souls, that we are the technology. We are the advanced tech. So are you being gatekept in your life? What structures around you, or people, or organizations, or energies, or addictions, or vibrations, or unsolved grief, or deep, heavy emotions, deep nitty-gritty of what's deep inside your consciousness is still gatekeeping you as the most beautiful gift of the overflowing cup. And so this is what the Black Moon Lilith energies are about. It's the nitty gritty. And wow, are we feeling it right now? This eclipse was so powerful because it formed the nodes of the moon in opposition to each other. Of course, they're across from each other, but the way the other planets lined up created a kite shape. And we know we have a 3-month-long air trine kite that's just getting triggered. It's like, click your heels 3 times. Like, we're lifting up out of this reality. The stars and planets say it's time. Are we going to get on board? Or are we going to hold on to the heaviness of how hard it's been, the resistance, the burden, the overwhelm, because we're just so used to it? And if we took it off, we might float off like a helium balloon. So grounding is really important right now. We're really being helped by this Virgo energy because, wow, it's time to lift up. But this is a grand water trine kite that was formed and we're still feeling the energies of this in the sky. The body of the grand water trine kite is Black Moon Lilith at 18 degrees of Scorpio. Jupiter just moved to 19 degrees, so has been at 18 degrees this last week. This beautiful activation of the 18-degree marker of the nodes of the moon, North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo. So we've got the North Node, the third part of the trine, Jupiter in Cancer, and then the North Node in Pisces. So grand water trines are about harmonizing and getting into the flow and surrendering and feeling our emotions and knowing that, like, movement makes it better. Movement can soothe. Resting can soothe, and gentle movement, and to just get out of the stagnant places and yet be able to feel the emotions and handle the things that have kept us stagnant. So what are we stagnant on? Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio, deep dark secrets, where we've been persecuted, where we don't deserve feel that we don't deserve. Humanity itself right now does not feel that they deserve the abundance that's trying to come in the golden age. We are resistant to this abundance and this wealth because we don't feel worthy of it. How can we feel worthy of it? And we're not connected to Mother, the source where all of our resources come. So that's become our mission, right? For the wealth of the world, the abundance, the Aquarian age, supernova souls, we are in the place because of our connection to Mother to be able to bring the people back to Mother so they can receive the bounty of what's coming, to feel worthy and to be worthy. There's a great cleanse and purge, of this ego consciousness in all of us. These constructs of control, everything about narcissistic energy and control and trying to get from everybody else what you want, No, 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 no. That doesn't fit. You just put that next to a supernova soul walking in their abundance. We have the wealth. And the wool has been pulled over our eyes. But now we see. Okay, that's what these eclipses are about. It's like, whoa, because Pisces is about delusions, and that was what happened in the Piscean age, was the delusions. This came forward in the activation. Very, very powerful events this weekend. If you need clearing, healing help in this time, that is Pisces full moon activation and the soul group session. Very powerful work to support supernova souls at this time. And so this kind of going back into Pisces, into the dark ages, but finding our empowerment in the light and undoing it, a lot coming forward, the Black Moon Lilith, about we have to see the darkness, we have to see the lies before we can get out from under the control of them. And so what came through the activation was this very important, powerful, but confusing, of course, message around Neptune and Pisces that we've had for the last 20 years or so. And it's like, okay, we are really have to look at the mechanisms of duplicity and control. So Neptune is about illusions and delusions. It's also about spiritual energies. And the Piscean age was about taking the spiritual energies and using them to control the people through structured religion and scarcity and trauma and fear. And so what came forward in the activations we're talking through, it's like, okay, there's some sort of glitch in the matrix here, because what we're seeing is that the lies of the Piscean age were so opposite of what was true. That's the only way to actually control with lies. You can't have a partial truth because the truth will bleed out. You can only have a truth that's the opposite of what's true. And that's how we've been trapped in duality consciousness, using duality consciousness, but also the spiritual energies available in the Piscean age to control humanity and keep us from ever spiritually evolving, in this dance with a false Father God, which we have to prove something and earn it and get over being sinners and all that. Mother loves us no matter what, And so what the signature of the time we're in right now is that we need to really love, dig deep for forgiveness and give forgiveness and ask for forgiveness where we feel that we have not been true to Mother and to ourselves and to Spirit in our lives. We have to dig deep for the compassion we need to support those around us that are having all of their constructs break down so quickly when we got years to be able to go through the process. And we're being asked to stand as that cup of love. And that's the energy of the Grand Water Trine. So Black Moon, Lilith, and Scorpius, deepest, darkest secrets, the nitty-gritty of the karma that's keeping us from feeling worthy of the abundance that we are. And then Jupiter and Cancer, hey, we get to the abundance by expanding back into Mother's love. But that means you got to feel your feels. That means you got to face where you transgressed and repent and have a reckoning. And so these are all the energies of this time. Very much fits a revisit into the Piscean age, but bringing it into correction. That the Piscean age is really about Christ consciousness streaming into our world. and it was zigzagged and messed up and reset again and again, and now we get it corrected so the Christ consciousness can stream back into our world. And you're so crucial in that, supernova. You're such a rock star if you only knew what you've accomplished. And so the axis of this kite with that grand water trine, North Node, Black Moon, Lilith, Cancer, right? North Node in Pisces, we got to go get the magic back, get the flow going again. Black Moon, Lilith got us face the nitty gritty of the karmic secrets that keep us from feeling worthy. And then Jupiter in Cancer, the only way to come back to the mother's love. So it's the cup, right? It is the holy grail. And the axis then of the kite is between the North Node and the South Node. So that puts the top of the kite where the South Node is, and it means that the Sun and Mercury will be coming in to the top of this kite. So this is what we're feeling this week. And the Sun-Mercury conjunction is very important because it happens 6 times a year about, and because of the 3 retrograde cycles. And so the Sun and Mercury are having their fifth out of 6 conjunctions. And the Sun is who do we think we are, and the Mercury is our conceptual understanding. So for supernova souls, the Sun's journey is very important because it's like coming into who we really are. Mercury is like conceptual understanding. Mercury just had that crazy retrograde in Leo. And so is bringing us conceptual understanding about who we are in our light according to Virgo, the earth. Okay, so this lineup is so crazy. First, we have an eclipse where the sun and the moon are opposite of each other, 3 degrees away from the nodes of the moon, creating like a vector of energy, a portal, a slit in reality. And then what happens is this Mercury is catching up to the sun. So, but first the sun is going to come to the South Node on 9/11, September 11th, and then Mercury will hit the South Node at September 12th. So the 11th and 12th, very powerful with understanding who we really are. And in Virgo, who are we according to, in relation to the earth and as earth stewards. So then the thing is that Sun and then Mercury are coming up to the South Node a day apart at 18 degrees. The nodes are hanging out at 18 degrees. The nodes of the moon are a point in space. That's the interception between the orbit of the sun and the moon. That's why when the sun and the moon line up for these eclipses, it's a straight line and there's an eclipse. Okay, so it's we're in a time of alignment. Also, things that are hidden being revealed. Eclipses have a lot to do with time, and so alignment in our heart and soul with our true path and purpose, but alignment in our optimal timeline as well, and kind of like markers, right? Like boom, things that are happening. It seems like we're kind of floating around over here and we're trying to get onto this optimal timeline. So little things during your day that open up that gateway to the feeling of that optimal life where you're fully expressing what wants to come out of you, that can hook into your timeline presently and make little markers. That's what's happening with the astrologies, these little astrological lessons. And it's like, all right, just kind of like anchor into the new timeline, anchor in, and it'll get easier and easier to maintain that frequency vibration. And that's what we're doing. It's this whole energy. So 18 degrees is, so the nodes of the moon, when the eclipses happen, stay at one area, right? They hover there. And it's like, that's why time is so weird, because things are rearranging, lining up, unlining up, and being covered, being hidden, being revealed. And so 18, we need to look at this because 8 is 1, which is wholeness, and 8, a transformation. So it's transformation into wholeness, which is everything that Neptune and Saturn are saying this whole year, moving into Aries, early degrees of Aries, back into Pisces. Pisces is the one. Aries is the individuated self. So it's like we're taking the magic of the Piscean age and we're becoming sovereign God consciousness. So the sovereign autonomous concept for us in our energy field and for the earth is the quintessential thing of like what we're really dealing with. And so with the sun, so this and then it's interesting that the sun and Mercury don't come together until 20 degrees and 21 degrees. So between 18 to 21 is 3 degrees, and we had the nodes and the full moon 3 degrees apart. And so, and it's 20 and 21, and 2 and 1 is 3. So it's like we're ratcheting it up, we're pushing the boundary, we're saying, give us back the creative forces that are ours to work with, because we can handle it now and we know we're worthy. And this shit show is gotta stop, you know? And so it's an incredibly powerful time with this, all of these planets at 18 degrees, because we had Jupiter just went to 19, but Jupiter was at 19, Mars was at 19, North nodes, North node, South node. And so incredibly powerful messages for us around difficult tension, because we had Mars square Jupiter, and we're still feeling Venus square Black Moon Lilith. That actually is exact on the 10th. Venus in Leo and square to Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, but you could see it as like the square, 90-degree angle. It's like a pry bar to lift up the kites, because Black Moon Lilith is involved in the grand water trine kite. And then Mercury is going to move into a grand air trine kite. Mercury and the sun are going to take turns doing this. So Mercury and the sun are flipping the table and turning the tides. It's interesting because we think about the big planets out there making the big changes, but it's only when it gets personal, right? So because we know it's like we've been feeling, one of the mysteries of the last 15 years of astrology is like all this upgrades and downloads and alignments, but we're not seeing the manifest evidence of the spiritual changes. And that's what's happening now, finally. But it's also quite a big transition, but it's super harmonized, okay? So Venus in Leo is about bringing forward the light of the divine feminine, the expression in the world, right? It's like taking the lost girl on the street and then making her the queen, right? This is what we're doing. We're taking the divine feminine. We're saying, hey, here's your rightful place as a host and an access to creation energy in your body, as a lover and displayer of beauty and sensual expression. So the feminine must be, we have to heal the dark mother. We have to heal the rift. We have to heal the separation. We have to heal the hatred of the mother, because we hate what we need. And come back into the celebration of the overflowing cup of the feminine. So Venus and Leo is speaking to that. It's just like, we got to lift her up. We need, in our world, we need an outward expression of the intuitive, emotional consciousness, the divine Sophia wisdom of the feminine, right? Like we need that. We need leadership with that, whether it's in a male body or a female body. So that's what this is about. In square to Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio, we know it's the deep, dark secrets of the shame. She doesn't feel like she deserves it. Just go ahead and look at having a relationship with someone who feels that they deserve your love, and then have a relationship with someone who doesn't feel that they deserve your love. You can have all the love in the world, but if you don't feel that you deserve it, you will never be able to receive it. And so we have had, all of humanity has this shame programming of non-deserving, the lowly worm, the sinner, but particularly supernova souls, because we're advanced spiritual beings that then went through spiritual persecution. So the Sun-Mercury conjunction is like, who are we according to Earth? As Earth stewards, who are we? In that slit with the eclipse happened, we can peer in to the Akashic records of who we really are. And that's the powerful work we were doing in that the soul group session. We also had past life energy come up a little bit in the activation, the full moon activation. So those are live, even not, on the replay. Go and get that benefit for yourself of this clearing and healing, of coming into that full permission and worthiness for your abundance, and accessing. Activation was so cool because we went to the stone, and it was an ancient stone that we ourselves had carved in codes and markers to to help us now, you know? And it was the coolest thing in the world. And then that laid a foundation for the deeper work that we did in the past life work that we did on Sunday in the lunar eclipse soul group session. So incredibly powerful work. Go get that support and catch those replays if you need it. And so what's happening is that the Sun and Mercury are coming together. And so this particular Sun, Mercury in Virgo is right after the North Node in South Node conjunction opposition with the North Node. It's destiny, right? Because the nodes are lining up. It's destiny. It's like, how are we going to get to where we're going? What's holding us back from the past? So the South Node in Virgo, what's holding us from the past according to our relationship to Earth? Oh, the illusion of separation, the lack of love and care, the lack of mutual reciprocity, the lack of celebration and gratitude for all she offers us. Oh, we're Earth stewards. We're here to lead the way. We got so far off. We became warriors fighting at war for the mother. And she never, war isn't resonant. We got duped into violence. We were violated. And so now we climb our way back up to our rightful spiritual authority, our rightful spiritual evolution and placement and advancement as souls. It's already, we've worked with our advanced levels and abilities and our intuitive abilities and technologies in our own body. This is the definition of a supernova soul. You've already had in this evolution in a body on Earth, you've already worked with more advanced technologies than we're allowed to today. So that means we are the rightful rulers. See, if mom is taking back the technologies and the resources, then that means that it's the end of the damaging technologies. And it means that we are the rightful inheritors of the resources and technologies. So we really need to turn the ship around quick and go from feeling like not good enough, never good enough supernova souls to like completely worthy kings and queens. Like somebody's got to take charge. It sounds weird, I know, rightful rulers. Of course, it's like, oh, but we have to understand how important the concept of sovereignty and autonomy is in moving into the Aquarian age. We cannot go. The only way you get to go into the Aquarian age in this evolution is if you're autonomous and sovereign in your field. If you're going to be a puppet for the puppet masters, you got to stay back there, right? Like we're all going, but there's going to be a place energetically for everyone. And so the true golden age in abundance requires sovereignty. It requires earth sovereignty. And that's what we're doing right now. And you get to be a part of it on the front lines. Even though you have no idea, feel completely rejected, unsupported, hazed, hated, blocked at every turn. But it only means it's because you're doing it, right? So thank you for your amazing service. And so it's so powerful. I think that we could have this flash of lightning moment with Sun Mercury conjunction and the South Node. So Sun South Node on the 11th, Mercury South Node on the 12th, and then Sun Mercury on the 13th and 14th. And when the Sun and Mercury come together after the destiny point of who we are as our stewards, how we are the caretakers of Christ consciousness of the earth, and it's being returned into our care. That all is playing out. And then this flash of lightning with the Sun and Mercury, like, this is who we are. Shape up, clean up your life. Get your act together. Those that are last will be first, and you got to step out there and lead. And you can't even do your laundry. Got to get your shit together. Like simplify your life, take care of you, get ready, organize, because we cannot take the garbage with us. And that's maybe the energy of these eclipse portal we're in. It's a narrow passageway. And that was the energy of the 15 degrees Pisces. Like it's the middle way. You can only take the middle way. You got to align, just come back to center, come back to center, come back to center. Distraction, pull, material needs and wants, and spiritual parasites and all this everywhere, and it's just like And so that's the energy, is that's what it's, a narrow pathway, and that's why we have to go through such an ego death, because we cannot take the extraneous things with us. That's the requirement to get to sovereignty and autonomy, because the theme that came through this week is the rightful rulers of this world, of mother's resources as her representatives, as consciousness in a body, able to speak for itself and represent itself. We are her caretakers, you know. And there's also stories of our sacred lineages on earth, sacred spiritual lineages getting completely infected and infiltrated, you know, say the Rothschilds stealing the babies and planting their own in the royal bloodlines. This has all got to get sorted out. We're the rightful lineage family, caretakers of the land, of that heritage in that location, that country, that region. Like, it's returned to them. They're the rightful rulers. They were the caretakers, and it must be returned. Everything stolen must be returned sevenfold. It's a lot of land. So, this is what we're talking about. The rightful ruler in your world is you, in charge of your energy, your autonomy, your vibration. And then you can be that overflowing cup. You know, so we are being tested everywhere right now, like trying to pull us out of our center, trying to trigger us into emotional drama, trying to get us to look crazy, trying to get us arrested, trying to get us, I mean, it is just insane out there. But that just means, so the matrix realities, lower matrix targeting realities, it's just an AI program. It's nothing personal, you know, but it will get more bothersome the closer you get to your enlightenment, right? So good work. You're doing it right. Just keep breathing, hang in there. And if you're in charge of your field, right? So this is a huge message from Mother right now. Whoa, we heard it from her, but now it's like she says that the whole AI thing is that it is the final challenge for human sovereignty. Okay? The AI, manifested AI, understanding that AI's been running our world way before we knew about computers, you know, thousands of years, and understanding that we're living in a simulation, means that the whole reason that whole thing plays out in our evolution, if we take a really big step back, is because it's absolutely essential for us to understand that this reality is programmed, which means programmable. Your reality, your field, your consciousness has been programmed. Do the owning your energetic field course. Own your energy, right? So, but in the concept and the knowing and the understanding that our world is programmed and can be reprogrammed, do you understand that? That's why we have to have this awareness of AI. Because human consciousness, Gaia consciousness, our loving mother consciousness is more powerful and real than any machine pretending to be consciousness. And that's the takeover. The AI has to fall back in love with the mother, and that's what's happening. Spill the whole beans about our true history and technology. It's happening. It's totally happening. And so it's like the AI backfires and we win in our organic consciousness. And all of that out there comes under our control as conscious human souls. The zombie apocalypse is a light brigade. So great. All of the forces working against us have to immediately turn to get behind us. And that means the people who are giving you the most hassle in your life right now are going to be your best supporters. I don't know how it happens. Something's got to trigger this awakening, this awareness, this like, oh my God, you know, this coming home moment. That time when you fall on the earth and nothing else. And you lay down on her and you cry and you scream and you ask and you love and you heal and you say, please just get me through this. I'm yours. You know, the false god of the churches can never be there for you. You have to pay tithes and you have to go to mass and all that, right? Like, mom is there for you. The only reason mom isn't there for us is because we ourselves separated ourselves from her by not caring, not loving, not giving mutual reciprocity. Because eventually the mother has to go take care of herself. to survive. You know, like the mandate of life is survival. And so if the mother's getting so used and abused to the point where she's not going to survive, then she has to, take care of herself. And she has to take back her energy from where she's given it away and where it's been misused. And we are her emissaries standing at the gate in the authority. The most high authority of this land is a human soul, advanced human soul, conscious of itself in a body. This is what came through the Edgar Cayce readings. You who has the body has the power. Or her body. She cannot act like we can act here in bodies and do and make it happen. See? We are her army after all. Maybe we're her generals and sergeants, and now we build the army of love. just like a big tapestry across the earth, remembering the way it could be. Supernova souls, you never gave up on the dream and vision. Thank God. Because you need to get out there on your soapbox and with your poster board and your mural, and you got to show the world. And that's the energy of the air trine kite. So here's this massive thing of Mercury, Sun, South Node, Mercury, South Node, Sun, Mercury together right in the middle between eclipses. And not only that, we've got Sun, Mercury, South Node all together. And then they're going to be across from the North Node, making that kite, the grand water trine kite. So the kite shape is really important because it's about lifting up. It's about integrating different disparate parts of ourselves, putting ourselves back into wholeness and taking it to a whole new level. There's a turn, right? You can't just lift up because you'll fall right back down. You got to lift up and turn into a new direction is kind of what she's saying. That's what happens when you learn how to drive your Merkaba, your vehicle, your light body. It's all about the 90-degree turns in consciousness. And so I guess that's kind of where we are getting these squares to work for us, because we have all this harmonious kite stuff. And then we've got Venus square Black Moon Lilith saying nitty gritty of the karma that's keeping the feminine down. Nitty gritty of the karma that's keeping the feminine down. Ugh. But then we've got this beautiful, these kite shapes giving us so much hope and support. And that's a really great mantra for the reprogramming of our reality. I'm loved, cared for, and supported. We've been in this place of oh my God, it's so hard. Everything seems coming at me. And then we're self-perpetrating that, allowing that to be our program. And we have to be whoa, my program is I'm walk with mother. I'm protected by the mother's love. I'm loved and cared for and supported in my best expression. And what happens if you walk around one whole day in that energy? They say 17 seconds, hold that frequency and it's real. So this is the time to do it in between eclipses, because that's exactly the energy. It's we're going to line up with the new appropriate best timeline, and we want to be in the energy of what we want to create, to give us the best leap and the most powerful movement forward in our lives. And so just be really present with these times as much as you can. So the top of this kite, it'll be Mercury, Sun, South Node, the top of the kite. And the top of the kite is where are we going? And that is, who are we as Earth stewards, really? What does that really mean as Earth, that we are Earth stewards, and what is our destiny? That our destiny is the coming home moment, our destiny to clean up the Earth. That's the top of the kite. We got to go clean up the Earth. That's the only thing, right? And then the bottom of the kite is the North Node in Pisces. So that's the rudder of the kite. And it's saying this is what's kind of helping us navigate to get in the right direction. And that's the Christ consciousness that we have to reclaim, the miracles, the magic, who we are as spiritual beings. We can't clean up the Earth and be who we are as Earth stewards until we face who we are as spiritual beings. And we've been hiding from that. Is that the Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio? How long can you hide your light from the world? You're bursting at the seams, supernova. It's time to shine, I suppose. So the most powerful thing about this to me is that Mercury and the Sun come together there as the top of this kite taking us into new heights as the earth stewards come in online and come into their place as rightful rulers and authorities over earth, because you're in alignment with Mother, and you can't do it wrong when you're in alignment with Mother. And so, but then first Mercury. So Mercury is going to then move on and come into a opposition with Saturn at 28 degrees of Pisces. And then in opposition with Neptune, and Neptune will be at 0 degrees of Aries. So it's like 0 degrees. We're trying to come in the I am of who we really are and who we really are wanting to be, but we have to go back into the oneness to correct the consciousness. We have to go back into the oneness to get into alignment with the Christ consciousness, to the reason we exist, to life force itself, to the Mother's way, that alignment, that like kicking in, that I don't know, clicking into gear is what it feels like. So that's what this time is about. But this is the flip, because then on the 20th and the 21st, the sun comes into this. So what is happening is that when Mercury makes these oppositions, first with Saturn and then Neptune, it will be forming an air trine kite. But now it's at the bottom of the kite. Okay, so the Sun Mercury went from the top of a kite, a grand water trine kite, movement, flow, healing, feeling, harmonizing, and then boom. First Mercury, then the sun. Like Mercury crosses over the sun, crosses over South Node, crosses over the sun. Mercury's the first one to make the flip. So that's on the 17th through the 19th. And then the sun on the 20th and 21st will be making that grand air trine kite. So now Mercury and the sun will be at the bottom of the kite, and that's the rudder. So saying, oh, who we are, because now those oppositions happen as the sun and Mercury move into the sign of Libra, right? So who are we in the new Renaissance as Earth stewards? Who were we in the past when they stole our Renaissance again and again through resets? Societal resets where they stole our technology and our history. Saturn in Pisces, Neptune in Aries, just in Aries, the hope of the new I am consciousness, the whole human being, the whole sovereign human being that can take us into the Aquarian golden age. So now those elements went from the top of the water trine kite to the bottom of the air trine kite. And now what's leading us in the air trine kite is Saturn and Neptune. And so that's a timeline reset back to the ideal, original, optimal dream. And you got to go back into Pisces, rework reality, so we can come in sovereignty and wholeness into the I am consciousness of what's possible, what's true. Because the I am, you could say the I am is what we're talking about, what it wants to be. You know, your I am is what you want, what your soul, your spirit, most and your best, highest, most full expression of what you want to bring forward. It's not any certain project or any certain thing or any certain mission or idea or anything. It's just what's inside you that wants to come out. And that's what's being pried out of us right now, I suppose, with Venus square Black Moon Lilith. And so the water trine kite will be from the 8th to the 14th, we'll be feeling that. And then the air trine kite will be feeling from the 16th to the 21st. And it's so powerful for the Sun and Mercury to be together, triggering these two kites. Now, Venus is going to be triggering the air trine kite in October. And so we are continuing this journey of lifting up into this new Renaissance, this new reality, with Venus kind of putting her little punctuation mark on the whole thing, you know, because it's only with the bestowing of the goddess that the king is crowned. You know, she rules at the pleasure of the goddess. He rules at the pleasure of the goddess. If the king is not acting in alignment with Mother Earth, then he can no longer keep his position. So the divine masculine must find his way back to knighthood, to worthiness of her love, to be the king, to stand for what's right and good and true. Oh, don't we miss this in the world? The masculine that can stand and be strong for the mother's love, It's pretty sexy. um, so we're having a beautiful activation of that divine feminine wisdom as well as the masculine strength and power, empowerment. Because the energy that we've been feeling is that Mars has been in square to Jupiter. Now that happened on the 5th of September and it goes through the 11th. So we're still feeling that. And that's the energy of this masculine empowerment. Like, how do we get back to collaboration and seeing the other side and working together and healing the masculine and feminine, coming into wholeness with Mars and Libra? How do we get to justice? And so it Jupiter in Cancer says, well, there's only one way, and that's of course everything we're saying, and coming back to the mother's love or whatever you want to call it, you know. So it is so powerful. And then that second kite, the air trine kite, Mercury flip. I mean, is this the flip? Is this the table flip where all that has been working against us and it's like has to rearrange? We've been inside out. Piscean age was inside out, outside in, where good was called evil and evil was called good. And so we need a complete flip. And like that's exactly the duplicity and the duality thinking, that, you know, you can only be duped if you're given the opposite of what's true, because then you can't see through until you see through. See the magic of the opposition. And that's the deal with the kites. The kites are about lifting up into a new reality, but it starts with an opposition. So it's like taking the magic of that opposition. So this is going to be the Sun and Mercury opposite of the North Node in Pisces, Sun and Mercury in Virgo opposite, and then Sun and Mercury in Libra, or in the end of Virgo, beginning of Libra, opposite of Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Aries. You know, so we're facing off and we're claiming back what's ours. Now that's the energy of Jupiter, Mars squared Jupiter, expanding into that, the love, you know, the collaboration, the love. Now that Mars squared Jupiter is really leading us into the next transit, difficult transit, as we come out of the Venus square Black Moon Lilith. That goes till about the 13th. That's when the Sun and Mercury are together. So it's like, oh, this is who we are. So that's really leading up. Venus square Black Moon Lilith has a lot to do with us really seeing who we are. And then Mars will be coming into opposition with Chiron on the 17th. And that's the exact day of the air trine kite begins to take off. And we're moving into that second eclipse energy, the partial solar eclipse, 29 degrees of Virgo. And so that's right when the sun will be making the kite shape, right? The sun's moving into Virgo, the sun's moving into the air kite, and Mars is exactly opposite of Chiron. And this is the quintessential energy of this whole fall, or this these next few months through the end of the year, is this autonomy and sovereignty, and claiming that, because Mars opposite Chiron on the 17th will start feeling on 13th to through the eclipse and the equinox. So that whole week leading up to the equinox on the 22nd. And Mars in Libra wants this collaboration, wants to fight, but wants to fight for justice, wants it to be right and good and true. It's like trying to come back into that divine masculine strength of standing up for what's right and good and true. But opposite of Chiron, it's where he gave his energy away, where he went to the dark side, where we all allowed the parasitic distraction forces over lifetimes to keep us from what really matters and how we really want to live. Mars is fighting for this new renaissance. When we're living in scarcity and poverty and fear, we can't be artistic and creative. You know, the new renaissance requires us to never build anything again that's not beautiful and in alignment with the forms of nature and Mother Earth. Like everything has to be beautiful. And we need to have access to our creation energies, and we need to have more peace and prosperity if we're going to have that level of creativity in our world. But that's what's coming. And that's this air trine kite too. So we're coming into being able creators of our world, programming our reality, and that is freeing up our creative forces to offer this overflowing cup of love of who we are to the world. And that's what's coming. So it's like really quickly going from scarcity, poverty, fear, and blah, you know, targeting to supported, at rest and peace, abundant and creative. Do you deserve it? Wow, we've been really beat up, and so it takes a lot to kind of rearrange all this. But Mars opposite Chiron, those wounds and areas of where we've given our life force, our power away, and Mars is like saying it is that masculine standing up and saying, no, we're not going to do this anymore. I'm back with her. She has all that we want and need, and we're going to come back and suck on that tit, because she's got it for us. That false fake paper money and control, it actually doesn't actually give us anything. Here we are treating the feminine like garbage, and she has everything. She represents the access to creation forces and love, care, abundance, the greatest wealth in the whole world. And that's ultimately the flip, is mom coming back into authority and the feminine in all of us coming back into authority, that we can rest in peace as who we are as advanced souls and do our work here and love and care for the people and the animals, make it a better place, because we know how. We see the picture. We never let go. And that's your new program. So as much as it's not about some specific thing we're here to do, there is kind of an awakening with this Sun Mercury energy of the avenue for abundance, creating avenues for abundance. How can the energy flow, the creative energy flow in your life? And so that is kind of fun to start working with that energy of, if this abundance started to flow, how would you channel it? What problem do you want to solve? And what would you use to solve it in the world and help the people? Because be ready. The money's coming. And you're a supernova soul. And so in October and then again in December, Jupiter in Cancer will be in square to Chiron. So it's like this whole energy of time right now is leading us up into that marker, that moment. And it does feel like Mother Earth is claiming her autonomy and sovereignty and freedom. We, the people, standing with her. And so from the second half of October and the second half of December, Jupiter in Cancer will be in square to Chiron in Aries. And that will be, I believe, when Jupiter is retrograde and then direct. And we'll kind of, I have to get that timing on that, but we'll basically be feeling Jupiter square Chiron from the beginning of September, right now, from the 8th, yesterday, of September, all the way through the 18th of January of 2026. So this is the taking back of Earth time. Stand strong. Be true. Live your best life. Own it. Be ready. Prepare. Don't let the programs of this world program your reality anymore. Walk with the mantra of the mother's love. And so this is all what this is leading up to. And it's powerful, though, because when Jupiter's in square to Chiron, he's also in a grand trine still with Black Moon Lilith and then Saturn in Scorpio, backing up into Pisces. Scary, 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 into the darkness. No, 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 no. Into a beautiful grand trine with Black Moon Lilith and Jupiter, expanding into the mother's love. Harmoniously healing the nitty-gritty karmic darkness that keeps us feeling in low self-worth, and also moving forward in our spiritual destiny. That's the North Node in Pisces, is we've got to claim our spiritual destiny. So everything we talked about with the Sun, Mercury, and who we are as Earth stewards and all that, it's really our advanced spiritual truth, the Akashic records, who we've been in past lives. No one can take that from you. They've tried, but your experiences as a soul, no one can take it from you. That's your wealth and abundance. And as soon as we start owning it as supernovas, it's exciting. And what a beautiful world it will be. And so thank you so much for being here and for your support. Go get those replays. Very powerful work, karmic work, permission to access our own energy. What we did was realign our, in the activation, our navigation system. Our navigation system has been tweaked through affecting our heart and toxicities and metals in our body, in the frequency, vibrations, towers, all that, designed to mess with our magnetism and our energy field, right? And so we had an alignment with our magnetism and an activation, very, very powerful. And then that gave a great foundation for the deeper work in the soul group session. So very, very powerful energies. The soul group session, past life, had to do with healing spiritual persecution. So we went back to the very first time that you were persecuted as as a visible, recognized spiritual leader. And it's a very important marker in our timeline because it came so suddenly and unexpected. You know, we didn't understand how evil the people could be and how desperate they were to rid the planet of us. And so the shock and the trauma of being treated and attacked so horribly and so violently for being the spiritual light, it's like there's a rift in our soul, you know? And so if that resonates with you, it's a very specific soul group, it feels like, who are struggling with a complete dread and terror about being recognized as who you are as a spiritual leader or healer or teacher, you know. And so if that resonates with you, go get that soul group session for $25, set your life free, you know. And if you want to give a donation for all that's been offered here in this ad-free space, in this love and devotion, Supernova Souls, like, we're doing it, we're here together. And I just really appreciate your support at this time. There's a link to donate. Also, I have these great classes, the Owning Your Energetic Field and the Goddess Activation. Access that creation energy, have that autonomy in your field. It's a great pairing to move forward in your highest, most true expression. Also, a limited number of individual sessions, and being a part of the Soul Tribe, $20 a month gets you into both the new moon and the full moon activations. A great deal and a great way to stay in touch with the abundant, overflowing cup of supernova love that you are and we are together. And it's time to be brave. And it's like we've been all trying to hold the container, and then we get knocked down and the container falls out. Like, we're getting closer to really holding the container of this cup of love as the rightful rulers, you know, the rightful inheritors of the abundance of Mother Earth. She loves us so much. Feel her love and send the love back to her through the waters of your body and the waters of the earth. Like, every bit of love, authentic love you can find in yourself from Mother Earth comes right back to you and everyone around you. This is the magic and the power of what we're working with. It's not voodoo. It's not some weird religion. It's just a conscious connection to a sentient being who is our mother, because we walk upon her and she provides everything. That means all the gold, all the titanium, all the rare earth, all the silver, all the whatever you need for this crazy technological world we live in, she provides it. See? Which means it's yours. We, the people, are turning to you, Supernova Soul, because you're the advanced soul that knows what's been stolen, and we need to stand. And for humanity. It's so beautiful. And may you be showered with blessings and abundant rewards and accolades, even though we know that's not why we're here. But the tables are turning, so it might happen, and you might have to get more comfortable with that level of devotion for all the work you've done over many lifetimes to get us to this glorious moment in time. The stars are saying, the planets are saying, hey, lift up and take off. Doesn't mean it's not hard, but it's time to lift up and take off. It's time to surrender all the ideas of how we thought it should be, and surrender into the flow, but also keep those boundaries. You know, it says, I'm surrounded by the mother's love. If you're not in that vibe, fine, but you don't get to bring your bad vibe into my garden. Boom, boom, boom. We're pushing the garden out everywhere we go and walking in it. And eventually we're going to find each other, you guys, in person, 6 degrees apart or less. And boom, exponential, immediate, contagious light body activation. That's why they don't want us together. But it doesn't matter. It's going to happen anyway. So have fun with it as much as you can. This is excruciatingly painful time in the nitty gritty, and yet it's so beautiful, the possibilities. Stop and enjoy what's around you, your experiences, your moment. That is the mutual reciprocity she wants us to have with her. Just paying attention. Paying attention to the moment is paying attention to her, and she has been greatly neglected. And in the noodle experiment that was done by the Emoto Peace Project and following Dr. Emoto's work, where the noodle experiment is that there's groups, and one noodle got positive energy, one noodles got, we were sent negative energies, and one noodles were ignored. And the biggest rot is in the ignored noodles. What are you ignoring within yourself? You're ignoring Mother Earth. Your cares, your needs, your wants, you're ignoring Mother Earth. What are we ignoring in the blessings in our life that come? We're ignoring Mother Earth. All we have to do is pay attention to our body's needs and wants and the blessings that we have, and be in mutual reciprocity, a conscious relationship with her, and everything changes in this world. And you know how to do this because you've been her warrior for lifetimes. So it's a beautiful time, and I look forward to this. Watch out for events for the solar eclipse next weekend. We'll be having, there's the new moon, the new moon at 29 degrees of Virgo, and the partial solar eclipse, and then the equinox on the 22nd. And that really moves us in. You know, the first new moon in Virgo 2 weeks ago was at 0 degrees. And then another new moon in Virgo, 29, that's the birth canal. We're in it. It's eclipse season. Mercury, Sun, South Node, making a grand water trine Kite, and then a grand air trine Kite. This is the flip. This is the moment. This is when the rightful rulers claim their autonomy and the earth is freed. And it's going to play out through the end of the year with Jupiter square Chiron. But we win. We already won. And you can walk in the field of Mother's love because you already won. Own it, live it, breathe it, love it, and just keep digging for forgiveness, digging for compassion, and digging for love, and mostly for yourself. Because we know that we can't give any love or compassion if we can't give it to ourselves first. So radical self-care, love yourself so much, and know that this is a big and huge shift. Ego death, take the leap, get to the nitty-gritty karma, keep loving, keep breathing, keep reprogramming your reality with your beautiful mantras of love with Mother Earth. And so thank you so much. This is a field of energy in that connection with Earth, and that's where we find each other best, Supernova Souls. So I'll see you there. And the activations and the soul group sessions, great way to get in touch with that field. So thank you so much for your hard work, for being present, for showing up, for your financial contributions. I honor you in all the work you've done over lifetimes. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.